All right, good Sunday afternoon, everybody that will join or join eventually. Yeah, I'm in for a good one today. Band I've been listening to for a couple of years, not a real long length of time, but I have been listening for a little while. Very excited to talk to these guys. Their music is very dynamic, it's powerful, it's emotionally driven. You could hear that there's a lot that they put into it, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and they're committed to their craft to say the least. And from Las Vegas, Nevada, that band is Pariah Was One. And I am joined by Calvin and Kevin, and we might have the other two joining here at some point. And if they pop in, you'll see them pop into the frame, and we'll get them into the conversation as well. But I want to ask, how are you guys? How are we doing today? And yeah, what's going on?
I'm good, man. Just another Sunday morning.
Yeah, same. Apologize in advance if I have trouble hearing here and there, but we'll get through it. So I'm just gonna hit the ground running, man, and hand it over to you guys, and just start with kind of a history for Pariah Was One, and kind of just give people some insight of the when, why, and how the band came to be, and what the vision was initially.
So, from my side, I was in a band called Dim, Death in Motion. I still am in the band. It's not gone. It's just on hiatus. It was 2017, and I got hit up by a mutual friend of ours, me and Kevin's, Jason Hines, and he had approached me about starting a project. Him and Kevin were both in Bipolar, right? You guys were in Bipolar at the time.
Yeah.
So they wanted to start a side project, and they had Jason had asked if I was interested, and I said, "Fuck no, dude, I suck." And I was still interested. Like, I was asking him, what kind of music it was going to be. He said it was going to be like Dry Kill Logic, which is a band I like.
Yeah.
I dig Dry Kill Logic, but I was like, well, send me some of the music, man. Like, send it to me. Let me try out. I don't just want to be like just a shoe in. I just want to be And so they sent me Nova, which is off the first EP.
I love that song, dude.
And it was I'd never written, I'd written stuff like here and there for Dim, but never like a full song, like, and all the melodies and stuff like that. So I, wrote this and recorded this really shitty fucking demo. It was terrible at my buddy Travis's house, and sent it to them. And Kevin, he was like, I can hear what you're going for, So let's try this out. We tried to form a lineup, and we just could not get practice together. We got one practice together, and we just could not, like, every time we tried to schedule practice, me and Kevin would be like, all right, we'll pay for some space. We'll pay, we were like, and then everyone would cancel. And then just straight up, Kevin in the chat one day went, this isn't going to work, and just left chat.
I'm out.
And I messaged him. I was like, well, listen, because we'd already written, like, I think we were working on Paisley and What's on Your Mind and Nova. I was like, we've already got some time into this. Why don't you and I just keep writing, and then we'll just build a lineup? And he was like, he agreed. And
the whole point
went from there.
Pariah, I wanted to have more freedom for writing, because my past, they're already established. I mean, they're all amazing people, and they have great music. But I just wanted to start something on my own. So that was the whole point of Pariah. I talked to Jason, hey, let's start fresh. And then we hit Calvin from there. And
Well, hell yeah. I like that you said, mentioned Dry Kill Logic, because they're a band that I feel like didn't get a lot of due process or a lot of the recognition that they deserved as a band, because they got swept in that whole new metal thing at the time. They were crapped on, and all that stuff. There's a lot of people that just didn't give that kind of music a lot of credibility. But I actually heard, the Dry Kill Logic kind of sound even in the newer stuff with Pariah. I feel like I hear some of that in the influence, and I think I love that, because that sound that they have has always been one of my favorite kinds of sounds from that era, and just kind of the way that it's implemented into Pariah, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say that they directly influenced us, because
Right.
it's not one that comes up with us a lot. Like I
Yeah.
love Dry Kill Logic. That's why I was intrigued by it. But I wouldn't say it's like a direct influence, but they have that sound that kind of like radiated, through a lot of music at that time, because they do have those really fucking those heavy grooves and stuff like that. So I think that we have some of that, but I wouldn't say it's directly, inspired by.
All right, got it. Thanks for clearing that up, because I was going to ask and kind of segue into how much of that was in the music itself, because there is a lot of your own identity in the music. I can't really name, too many other bands that I'm really reminded of when I listen to Pariah. Besides obviously, Gemini Syndrome. I think there's some not just with the guest feature, but just sound wise, some of that makes sense. Between those two bands. But as a whole, definitely kind of it's an original kind of take on heavy melodic, kind of progressive kind of music, that you guys craft together. And
I
go
love
ahead.
that you said that.
Yeah.
because we've always we're all from all we take everything from different places. Like there was a quote by Phil Anselmo a long time ago. It says, in order to make your sound, you steal from your 20 favorite bands, and that's how you get your sound. And
Yeah.
but it's nice to hear, because we all have these crazy influences from all over, and it's nice to hear when somebody goes, I don't really hear a lot of bands that sound like you guys, because I think we're all trying to, you're always throwing names around, in we always throw in stuff oh, this has got kind of that Tool feel, or I'm always trying to get that Chino sound in certain vocal, points or whatever, but you never get it, so it's nice to hear that, it doesn't sound like you're copying anybody.
Yeah. I mean, you also get those people that want to say that you do sound like a list of 1 through 10 bands just because you're heavy like those bands.
Right.
It's like they don't understand how dynamics work, and they don't understand, I guess, the way a song comes together. I mean, so in that context, I guess I'm saying that you can say that every band sounds like each other just because they're heavy or they're poppy or whatever, but it's not the true case,
Right.
So that kind of segues into how did you guys actually kind of find the sound though that you wanted to go for, and how I word it in the question, and was it an organic thing, how it came together? Because from the first album, the second to the EP, there's progression. They're not exactly alike to each other.
I don't think we have really found that sound yet.
Yeah.
I think we're still looking. Yeah.
We're just pretty much rolling with it. I go through different phases of different bands I've listened to. So it just depends what I'm listening to, and then kind of use that as a guideline, and also mix up other bands before, not trying to rip anyone off or anyone.
Right. And what about for you, Calvin? What could you say about yourself?
I mean, it's kind of I kind of always look to some of the the vocalists that I really, really enjoy. Like you were saying, like you hear kind of that Gemini stuff in there, not just with the feature. Like if you look back to the first EP, first of all, Aaron's been hanging around in the background like the whole time. Like
Yeah.
he did the the pre-pro vocals for the first record. He did some of the pre-pro for the second record. He was in the studio with me for the first record. Like the song Out of Reach, when I wrote that chorus and finally demoed it, I actually had to go back and listen to every Gemini Syndrome song to make sure I didn't rip him off. Because when I was hearing it, I was going, this sounds like something Aaron would do. Not that I sound like Aaron, just that it sounds like something he would do. And I had to make sure that I
I'm intentional.
So, but like I pull from a little bit from everybody. Like I'm a huge Jesse Leach fan. I'm a huge fucking Chino. Like anything Chino touches is sexy. And but I also I try to reach for like there was one time we did what fucking song was it? Say Yes to Rome. And I showed Kevin the demo, and the first thing that came out of Kevin's mouth was like, I hear like some STP in there, and I'm all, well, that wasn't my intention, but that's a compliment if I ever heard one. Like, so I think I just kind of pull from like all of my like influences, you know, to kind of get there. Like I'm huge into Tool, and so I really want to I'm always trying to push a little further, even though when we started this thing I expected to just scream the whole time. Somehow I turned into a singer or something.
Well, hell, dude, I want thank God that you sing as well too, because you're great at the screaming, and I think you're fantastic with the singing as well, dude. Like it's so this is my take. Like what attracts me to like a vocalist and how they sound, to me, it's not about if they're sounding super pretty, super perfect. I want to hear how they could deliver a line in a song and how it connects to me, you know, my heart and my mind, and what it pulls out of me. You could have the best singer in the world sing something that just sounds flat and emotionless, and
I agree.
I would say that you sound better than freaking, you know, Miles Kennedy from Alter Bridge. He's a fantastic singer, and he's not one of those singers that sounds emotionless. That's not what I'm saying. But if he did, I would say that I'd prefer you over him, just for the fact that you get more out of me emotionally with your delivery.
I have to give a lot of the credit, you know, as far as anything that I do. One to Aaron, because Aaron helped me a lot with my voice, and then two to Kevin, because he writes. I can't write a song unless it pulls something out of me. So the fact that he's constantly writing shit that is just like pulls that, you know, like sometimes it takes a little bit, you know. I've had to rewrite like Paisley. I think I rewrote it like 3 times, you know. Demanding took like a year to fucking write. But like sometimes I hear something like Kevin sent me, you know, when we were writing Plea, as soon as he started that riff, I knew exactly where I was going with it. Or Weather, as soon as he gave me Weather, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. And so I have to give, you know, less credit to me and more credit to them.
Yeah. Who came up with that main lead riff for the chorus? I hope I say the song title right. Meyer Rebirth.
That is actually a lot of Dustin.
Yeah.
Dustin wrote a lot. Like that was mainly a Dustin song, and then we just kind of sprinkled all over it. Dustin's no longer in the band. He just kind of did the EP with us. He had, you know, other things that he wanted to focus on. No Love Lost. He contributed amazingly to what we were doing. But Meyer Rebirth he basically sent like this thing into our group chat and was like, oh yeah, he just finished putting the studio together at home. He's like, oh, just test this. I was like, okay, I need you to put, repeat this part. I just kind of agree. And now I need you to send it back to me.
Double the last chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double the last chorus.
I can't say how many times I've listened to that song on repeat from the newest EP because of that riff and that chorus and just how it starts and how the song starts off. Like, it catches your ear so intensely, it just does not let go. Like, it's a hard song for me. Like, so if I'm in a mood for a certain song off the EP, I'll skip to that song. But if that song's after that song, I have to listen to it first, and then I'll go to the song that I intended to listen to. Because, like, god damn you guys for an EP that it makes it hard to sit through one song because there's another song on there that is just so damn good, but all of them are that way, I'm sitting there just like ping ponging through those tracks, just back and forth. Like, oh well, now I need to go listen to this song. No, I need to go listen to this part in that song again. It's like, god damn. I'm kind of like getting a detour away from what I wanted to go into. I wanted to kind of get a little bit of an insight into a home we've never seen. Like,
okay.
What can you guys recall for that process of writing those songs in that period of the band? Because all the stuff you guys have put out is like some intensely emotional stuff and sounds pretty personal. And so I just kind of want to get some insight for a home we've never seen, in that regard.
Well, I don't know a lot of, because I know some of those songs were songs before I ever stepped into it. Kevin has like a vault, like a bit, like he just buried under his house, just full of songs and riffs. Like, he's got so much music. But when we, that was like the initial stages of the project. So it's like some of these songs like were already like written. So I can't speak to where he came from for it. But lyrically, vocally, all of our stuff is kind of all over the place. But a home we've never seen specifically is like Paisley is about what I went through when my mom died. And stuff like Out of Reach is just, those feelings of, of hopelessness inside. You're trying to, you feel like you're away from everybody. Nova is just a story. It's a story about like far into the future when technically the song should have been called Red Giant, but I just thought Nova was cooler. And that's what he called it, so I stuck with it. But it's technically just a story about a religious zealot who sees the planet exploding as like as a punishment from God. Andromeda, A New Home, which is actually what A Home We've Never Seen comes from, is loosely based on Mass Effect.
Okay. That's cool.
What's on Your Mind is about our obsession with technology. What am I missing? Nova, Out of Reach. Huh?
Oh, Eden Gone Dry? You already covered that.
Oh, Eden Gone Dry is just about, toxic relationships, about somebody that you're so drawn to, but you really just don't fit together.
Been there, man. I've been there.
So it's just kind of, lyrically and vocally, it's just kind of all over the place. Because I'm a nerd at heart, so I write about nerdy things, but I'm also, I'm human, so I'm full of fucking emotion.
Yeah, that's the truth. And before I get on to Kevin's take for it, the video for Nova makes a lot of sense too, by the way. And you mentioned like an explosion and stuff like that for like a planet or whatever, because the video gives off that apocalyptic feel when I'm watching it. Like there's those fire effects and like those red blotches or whatever all through it, and it's just like kind of intense and stuff. I love that video. It's pretty visually striking and kind of does make you a little bit of afraid of something like that happening in front of you. Like our sun just expanding and just engulfing us or something like that. But what about for you, Kevin, for a home we've never seen? What does it mean for you?
Yeah, I'm not so sure how to put it, but yeah, it's just like a whole like just old material to have like in the past, and I just wanted to just bring it out for us, yeah, it's first EP, and yeah.
Well, hey, you don't have to be elaborate or anything, so that's perfectly okay. Like it just for me when I'm listening to it, like I feel like, and I might be the kind of person that takes away more from like a batch of songs than what's actually there. 'Cause I think that's kind of a natural thing, like applying it to your life and applying your own kind of meanings or narrative to the songs. And so I guess that's why I feel this like the album is just so powerful in the sense of like maybe it's imagery and the words and just the composition of music. So for a first outing from the band, I think it's a freaking solid as hell offering. It's a great batch of songs. I'm proud of it, and I didn't even make it. So, but so you touched on Paisley and what it's about, and I kind of got a sense of I'm big on songs that deal with loss of a loved one, like parental or like a son or a daughter or just a sibling or anything like that. Maybe I'm obsessed with death in that sense of feeling sad, or I like hearing songs where someone has gone through it and I feel connected in that sense. So that's my favorite song off of A Home We've Never Seen, by the way. So obvious reasons why. And then I guess we can just go into the next one and kind of break down, in a sense, Heaven is a Chemical. Yeah, that's just some songs I want to cover. Like Dropper, A Love Letter, Say Yes to Rome, which you mentioned, Polaris, and the title track, Heaven is a Chemical, just for some of the things I want to cover for the album itself. What was that one like for you guys putting together? And was it a painstaking process? Were there moments where you felt like you wouldn't complete it? Was it a tough album to write, or did it kind of just come together a really nice way?
How many of those were? Because I know some of those were brand new. Like some of those we actually put together. But then I know some of those, a couple of those were older ones, right, Kev? Like that you had for a while.
Yeah, I'm trying to think which one. I know Demanding had some.
Demanding we had for a while, because you actually gave me Demanding when we were working on the first record, and I just couldn't make anything work, so we didn't record it.
I didn't have it really structured either.
Yeah, it was that one. Yeah, we were playing around with, and then was Dropper an older one? I think Dropper was an older one, right?
That's an OG.
Yeah, that's another one from his vault. But like
those parts were written before.
Yeah.
Like that old.
Wow.
But like songs like Polaris, that was a new one. That was one that he had dropped the it actually sounded different when he originally jammed it in the room. It sounded slower, a little darker, and then he took it home and he threw it on the bench and pulled out the jigsaw and he did what he does. Heaven is a Chemical was like 11th hour. Like it was like we had a completely different song that was going to go in that batch. And yeah, like there was like a whole we already had the studio time scheduled, and we had a different song. I can't remember what I called it, but I know which one it was. And we're like, all right, well, we hadn't even jammed that one in the room yet. It had just been demoed, and I threw some vocals on it and rewrote it a couple times. And then I think we were like 2 weeks out from studio time, and Kevin goes, I don't really want to do that one. He's like, I think I want to do this one more. And he gave me the he pointed out the demo for Heaven is a Chemical. I forget what you titled it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I wrote the vocals for it in like a week before we went into the studio. We jammed it a couple times, but that record I think we spent more time on, whereas like A Home We Never Seen, we worked on for a few months, and then we like just pushed it because we wanted to get some material out. Whereas like Heaven is a Chemical happened during COVID.
Yeah.
And we basically were just like in the practice space. Like I think at that time we were still practicing like twice a week or something, So we were just in there every practice, just working on this stuff. And the overall theme for the record, lyrically, for most of the songs, is dealing with my where you say you have an obsession with death, I have a fear of death.
Okay.
Like I do not handle death well in the least. And that it was me trying to deal with it. Like Heaven is a Chemical, the whole process behind that is a theory that I have that so you've heard the like DMT, the pineal gland, all that, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So the idea is that when you die, it's not heaven or hell. It's your blood it's your brain being flooded with chemicals. And they say that your life flashes before your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, what if it's like the same concept of a dream as like you're just reliving your life, right? And that's what it is. It's like you're dying in a second. You're bleeding out. You're dying. Like you're gonna die within like a minute. But you're reliving your whole life in real time in your head. So, and the idea that deja vu is your brain telling you, going, you already did this. You already did this.
Man.
So that's what Heaven is a Chemical is. And then the songs that kind of surround it are just other ways of approaching that. Like Demanding is the idea that, demanding answers about the afterlife.
Right, yeah.
But there's other stuff peppered in there. Like Say Yes to Rome is basically stating, if you have the opportunity, like if someone came to you and said, hey, let's go to Rome. If you have the opportunity to do something that you may never get a chance to do, say yes. Just do it.
Do it.
You only get the one shot, Dropper, Love Letter is literally a love letter to my wife. Yeah, that's what it is. Polaris is the idea of being lost, like mentally, personally, emotionally, and just looking for something, like some kind of guidance,
Yeah, that was nailed with the music video for that song.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I took away from it.
And that was fun. We don't play that song too much anymore.
Yeah.
We spent 2 days playing it to shoot a music video.
Yeah, I music video just ruins it for me.
Oh, I mean, just a lot of that, like I said, the overall theme is just dealing with death, but there's just other peppered in stuff there, and a lot of it's just like Buried is just fucking dealing with the version of yourself, the negative version of yourself that's always beating you down. Maybe you conquered it and it's trying to come back. Like
I feel like that's a reoccurring thing in the majority of our lives for every individual. You know, whether they admit it or not, we all struggle with that. So, and then I don't know if I got a whole lot of input from Kevin for Heaven is a Chemical overall, but is there anything you'd like to add about the experience for that when that was being written?
Well, Heaven as a Chemical, yeah, it's like probably one of my best materials I wrote so far. But yeah, I don't know.
That's all cool, dude.
There was a lot of growth in that process. I think for all of us, because like I said, some of that stuff was old, but
in here,
go ahead.
Some of it was brand new, and then for me, even I think for me and Kevin working together, like there was a lot of stuff I'd never done vocally, before on that too. So like him writing what he wrote pushed me to do what I did on the record, and I don't know if he, it's because I was doing what I was doing. Like, I don't know if it was like a symbiotic circle there, where it's like he, I'm doing this, so he's, starts doing that, which makes me do this. And, but I think like there was a lot of growth as a band there.
Oh yeah.
I think I agree with that. And, what was I gonna say? My kid just distracted me. He's up on the counter arranging the seasonings right now. Autism in children is a really interesting thing. I can tell you that much. This kid just cracks me up every day and surprises me every day with what he does. But no, like I agree with the comment about growth when regarding Heaven is a Chemical. It's and just in general, it sounds like you two just have a really good kind of like, I wouldn't call it a formula, but just relationship when it comes to the music and how it's put together, how it's written. I feel like without you guys saying it directly to me, that you guys maybe challenge each other in a really positive way when it comes to the music and how the ideas are fleshed out, and the outcome of that is what we hear with the music when it's put out. So
sometimes he wants to stab me though. Sometimes he does. There's times where I'm like, hey, I need you to do this and this, and he's like, I don't know, man.
Well,
like,
thank you.
Or like there was one song I think I wrote a demo for that we never even went past because I was like, I just want to cut that whole part out, and he's all, fuck you. He didn't say that, but I know he was thinking it.
Yeah. So how much gold do you have in that vault, Kevin, of songs that you guys haven't finished or started on? Because it sounds like he could keep you guys going, or you could keep the band going for material for a good length of time with whatever's in there.
Well, I've been pushing Calvin with these new materials. Have been
the new stuff's fucking. It's not even anybody's. It's not even anybody's fault. Just my day job kicks my ass, and and it's like I just want to fucking. I don't have the strength, sometimes, but I've got some ideas for the new stuff. I do. I just got to get it all fleshed out. But he's got, I mean, I don't know what he's got like that he hasn't put on the drive, because we've got a drive that, we share, but there's probably, if I could quit my day job and just write music, we could probably write 2 or 3 albums with what's there.
A lot of treasure there, it sounds like. Like, I'm the kind of guy, if I was a personal friend of your guys's, I would want to be in that house listening to everything, even if you think it sucked.
There's sometimes he brings me stuff and he's like, I don't think I like this anymore. And I'm just like, no, don't.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta take exactly. Sometimes you gotta take those ideas that might not sound like they're working out and just push it anyways, because that might end up being like a diamond in the rough once the process is done.
We've had a couple of those.
you know.
The song Plea proven that.
Yeah, Plea.
I thought it was like too repetitive, like too boring. But like Kelvin sees the potential of it, and he was just kept pushing.
Yeah, that was one of those songs. They're like, we need to do this. We need to do this. Like,
I see the picture, you know, after we tracked it, I was like, wow, the best song on the EP, honestly.
Yeah, hell yeah, it is. Do you guys want to start talking about the recent output of music with When a Good Heart Sways and kind of get into that one? Because that's some of my favorite songs from you guys. It really captivates me, those songs. And I guess I want to just start with kind of asking about the concept behind Weather, because I feel like I have a pretty good idea of the song's subject matter, because I feel like it's kind of put out there in kind of a direct way. You know, like I look at it as there's periods in a life where it's going to be raining and it's going to suck. But there's that break in the clouds, so to speak, and that sun shines on you. And it kind of gives you a little more energy to keep pushing through, keep going. Because eventually you're going to get to that other side of the storm. Even when in the middle of it, it feels like it's never ending. You know what I mean?
Can you write that down for me? Because I feel like that's a lot better than anything I was about to say.
Well, hell, man. I mean, you're the musician that's saying
it. Once again, Kevin is a man of a few words sometimes, so I never know where he's coming from when he's writing this stuff. But I know that when he brought it to me and I started, fleshing it out. So Weather is kind of, one part song, one part fable, one part, poem,
Right.
The way that it's written lyrically. But the concept behind it is that you're dealing with somebody that over and over, and they're just negative behavior in your life, their toxic effect on you, no matter how many times they tell you they're going to change or not, they're just never going to. And they will never share what they have inside, whether there's any positive or anything of that inside. They're always they are the sun. They keep their warmth to themselves. But they just keep bringing the storm, the rain, to this place that you are. And eventually you have to realize that there's better weather other places, man. So you just have to leave. You have to find a new place to plant your flag. And that's what Weather is.
Yeah. So the hard choice is often the right choice, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
what you said is a perfect example of sometimes you just let people pull what they need from a song. Just because I was one place with it, all right, you pulled something that was completely different and absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you. It, like, the batch of songs on that EP, like, I'm not even gonna lie, there's periods where I got choked up listening to it, like listening to Plea. Like, I apply that to when I think it was the Christmas of 2022 or 2023, when the grandmother that was with myself and my family through a lot of really hard shit, and she raised, by the way, 18 kids, only of which I think 3 or 4 were hers by blood. And this was a woman that she carried a lot on her shoulders. And when she started getting really sick, and when I started to notice that, okay, and she was in her 90s, by the way. She was 93 when she finally passed. And, she was riddled with cancer and, things with her lungs and stuff like that. And she just fought and fought. And her sense of humor when it came to death and her dying, I don't know how many times where I'd be talking to her on the phone or talk to her in person where she goes, Will, I thought that I was sitting in my chair and I started to breathe heavy, and I felt like my heart was beating a certain way. And I'm like, I gripped the side of my chair and I said, "Oh, this is it. Lord's coming to take me." And then she says, she opens her eyes and she's like, "I'm still here," you know. And but plea, that damn near made me cry, man, because I feel like I plead in prayer and just like talking to God, being like, "Don't take her yet," you know. I need this woman in my life. She's helped me through a lot of really tough things, you know. And so that song specifically it can be tough for me to listen to, but at the same time it's cathartic and therapeutic to listen to it, you know, because I don't know if that's kind of the intent behind the lyrics of pleading with something or someone for more time with something. But just that EP has so many moments like that for me where I'm just like, God, man, damn, that's some powerful stuff. So, along with Weather, what are some of the songs that mean the most to you guys from that EP?
I can't say that there's a song I've written that doesn't mean something to
Yeah.
me. Even the nerdy shit, because it's all, you know, dealing with something. But, you know,
Let's say it's Terminal because it's the funnest song to play on that EP.
Uh-huh.
it is a banger to play.
Where both Dustin and I collab on that song. And yeah, it's been pretty fun writing it too. I really like All to See because of its catchiness.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, this EP pretty much has the most collaboration. Our former bass player Will, he's the one who wrote the riff for Plea. So he's fiddling around with you know, the bass intro that he does for that song. He brought that to the jam space and he just knew it around. I thought that's a pretty cool bass line.
Yeah, it is.
And then pretty much there.
I like to describe the verses in that song, like what I thought about when I heard it, with like the bass line and kind of how the guitars and vocals are all going on, you know, in them, is it's kind of like this slow, kind of eerie crawl.
Yeah.
Like those verses, like they're just kind of crawling into your ear, like and just hitting your eardrums, and it's kind of like, oh, you know, like whoa, and it like kind of creates this atmosphere. And then the chorus hits, and it's like, that's basically one of my reactions when I was listening to it, when I was in between trying not to bawl my eyes out, at the same time just being impressed and like loving just the atmosphere and the tone of the song. Yeah, it's a great EP. I've shown it to a lot of friends at work.
During the cleans, Dustin, he added some nice leads to that. During the
he just most a lot of really cool
kind of
stuff. I don't know if you guys seen your follower counts tick up at all on like your Instagram or anything like that, but the people I've shown the EP to at work there was like a week straight where they would come up to me and say, "Oh, dude, what do you think this song's about from the EP?" Or like, "How do you think they came up with this riff for this song?" And I'm just like, I'm not real sure, but I'm going to be asking them when I'm talking to them on the 23rd. You know, like my boss is a really big Gemini Syndrome fan. And so he went and listened to Weather, and he goes, man, he's like, it's kind of really striking how those two complement each other with their vocals on that song. And I'm like, watch the video. The way they did the video is also really cool. It's like they're talking to each other through the video, within between like the frames of the storms and like the words popping up on the screen and stuff. And people at work love it. So I think you're doing a lot of things right, even if it doesn't feel like it. So
great to hear.
Yeah. What's a live show like for you guys? Like, do you put a lot of thought or concern in like how it's delivered, or do you guys just like to go up there and lay it all on the stage and just rip?
Yeah, we just kind of get up there, man. Like,
Yeah.
Once we figure out what set we're gonna do, which we kind of usually put, in that like is determined by what kind of bands we're playing with.
Mhm.
But once we figure out, what we're doing with the set, we just get up there, man. Just fucking.
Well, and did you say "It's Terminal" is one of your favorite songs to play live? What's like your top song you guys like pulling out and just playing through?
The best reaction from that song too, from the crowd.
Yeah.
A lot of times, we had that song for the last song. A lot of guys right after the set will come up to me and they're like, "Man, that last song."
Yeah, it's such a banger. It's so it kind of it has everything you need. It's got that fucking crazy breakdown. Just it's heavy, but it still has that bit of melody to it. It's such a banger.
I think they're all bangers off of that, man. Like, I don't know if I'm biased or what, but there's not a weak point on that EP. Like, there's like in any of the songs. I don't think you could have executed it in a better way. And if you could, I don't know, do for the next EP or the next album. Then like flex. But so if you guys go out on a tour at any point, I want to say try and get out there with Gemini Syndrome so I can see you guys both. And I want to see you get up there with Gemini and rip through a song. And I want to see Aaron rip through Weather with you guys. Like, I think that'd be like a top 5 tour or show I'd want to see for this year. If it could even happen. Like, if I'd have to take a plane to Las Vegas, I'll do it.
And I would love that to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we'd like to happen. Of course, it's just a matter of right time. It's all timing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, jobs and circumstances make it hard to plan shows.
Yeah.
It's hard to be in a band in this day and age.
Yeah,
it's really hard to be in a band. Not because it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with people. It's just because I've spent more making music than I've ever made back from it.
I could believe it.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah. I'm sure there's periods where you're like, God damn, like can I push any more than I have already? Like what's I'm sure you reach a lot of those points, and it's just like that's a good subject to actually touch on for you guys. Like, how do you work through those kinds of periods where it's hard to go and approach the music? I told you they were nice. Indeed. All aboard, rescuers.
So, I mean, I've just consistently, like, I don't want anything out of this except to make music. I realize that I will never see my return on investment. Every once in a while you get like a nice, little like, oh, well, somebody's listening, like hilarious. To this day, I think it's 40 or 50,000 streams or whatever, which is meager in the drop of the bucket of the music.
It's not nothing.
But it's not nothing for a band that mainly is in Vegas and or Weather. Weather right now is, I think it's like over 10,000 streams or something like that, and it's only even for us as that. Since it was dropped in December, that's a lot for us, So it's every once in a while you get that drop of like, oh, somebody other than us is listening. I have always gone about that, when it comes to music, as long as it's out there and somebody's hearing it, whether it's one person, whether it's 1,000 people, that's what convinces me to just keep going. Plus, I just got a lot to say. Whether anybody cares about what I have to say is the other. It's debatable, but I have a lot to say.
There's probably someone in some corner of the world that's saying, "Oh, I wish Pariah would just shut up." And to that, you just stand up and say, "No, not happening." But to start wrapping it up, though, what do you guys want to share? And you kind of already did, with as far as music, being worked on or attempting to be worked on. What do you guys hope could happen this year as far as that goes? As far as any new music, maybe a show or two. What could potentially be expected for people that are listening?
I mean, we got a show with Hemlock coming up in April, here in Vegas. So,
And we'll probably hook up some more stuff.
Yeah, like,
Well, you like to, start writing again.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready for a new album. I mean, potentially, hopefully by next year or so.
Yeah, because like he's got most of the riffs there. I need to sit and there's a couple songs that I've got, melodies and I've got, partially written, but I need to sit down and start like demoing and I have the concepts there. I know over the next, couple months Kevin's got, stuff that he's doing on the side, so it'll give me a little bit of time to kind of to focus on on writing, but it would be nice to at least by the end of the year get a few of the new stuff like written to a point where maybe we could write like send some ideas to our secret member, our producer. Start getting his thoughts on it.
Maynard James Keenan from Tool, isn't it?
No, it's fucking. It's Andrew Capspin. He produced all 3 records. So
love his work.
He's I don't like to tell people this, but if you're in a band in Vegas and you're not recording with fucking Andrew at Funky Jelly Studios, what the fuck are you doing? Like that's all I can say. Like, what are you doing? He I don't think he's getting the credit that he should be getting, because dude can he can shred if he wants to. He's got an awesome mind for like most of the time, our songs when we go in, we know what we're gonna do. Every once in a while we get a song like all to see, or what was one we did? There's another one on the last record. Why am I blanking right now?
Rebirth or
no. God, why am I blanking right now? Hold on, I can tell you right there.
Pull up the cheat sheet.
Yeah. Cycles.
Yeah.
Cycles. So Cycles was one of those where we sat down with Andrew and he moved some stuff around, and toyed with it. All to See was another one that there was some moving around, but he's got a good mind for rearrangement.
Makes it so much better. It just better.
He's an absolute blast to record with. He's just a super fun personality. And no, Chill is you're sitting back and vibe. Andrew is a force. He's always popping off with the jokes. He's high energy, and not in a bad way. He's always ready to work in the studio. It's just the place that he is. And I love recording when we do vocal sessions. It's just cracking up and hey bro, can you step this up a little bit? When they're talking about the grit, it's
So he's basically like the secret sauce when it comes to Pariah, or the glue that holds things together, or like you said, he's the force that arranges things around in a way that you didn't even think is possible.
He's the fucking the gloss, man. Like he,
Yeah.
like we build the house, we fucking we pick the colors,
Mhm.
we bring the furniture, but he's the guy that is he puts the lacquer on it all, man.
Oh yeah. Well, I keep working with him. Sounds like that's the plan. So I don't want Howard Benson. Not that I hate him. I love his work. But I think he might make you another version of Linkin Park or I love Linkin Park too. By the
I
way,
can't rap, bro. I can't rap.
You think you can't rap, but you might be able to. Anyways, guys, just wrapping it up. I would like you guys to go ahead and just fire away every little spot that people could find you on your socials, listen to your music, and plug in the website. If they want to find some merch and everything, and get it all on here.
PariahWasOne.com. That's pretty much the hub. You can get the store. You can find anything you're looking for there. You can find our music on Bandcamp. Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Tidal, Deezer, Pandora. Your mom's fucking fridge. I guess I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah. Check out the new EP. When a good heart sways, definitely check that out, and then listen to our old stuff too. Because it's good.
By the way, I just want to say how much I freaking love the title of that EP. Like, I had it written down on my little thing there. Just what the title just itself says to me about the music, or like how the world or people or things could influence an otherwise good heart to want to turn and just be angry or vile or just tainted with disdain and everything. Like, that is a freaking awesome title.
That's where it's at. It's funny because it comes from a nerdy spot, but that's what what it actually means, because its terminal is fucking is straight up looking at the fucking the state of the world right now. And but yeah, that's exactly, you nailed it right there.
I try. But is there anything else you guys want to add, Kevin or Calvin, that I haven't touched on at all, or we feel good?
No, that's about it. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you doing your homework too. Like I thought maybe you were just listening to the first EP, but you busted in and you're talking about the first record and the second record. So you did your homework, man. I appreciate it.
I'm glad I rose above that otherwise low bar expectation. It came with the goods, I guess.
It's nice to hear that, not just your new stuff is in the
I always
ear.
care about the new stuff, Yeah, I get it. But I know, I've had fun, guys. This will go up on the YouTube later on today. I've still got to go and get the one from yesterday up. And it's completely up to you if you want to share it around on your socials. I'm going to tag you in it either way.
Yeah, we'll share it around.
It's been a pleasure having you on. It would be a pleasure to have you on again in the future when some music is on the way to coming out.
Yeah.
And I will do my due diligence with furthering spreading the word about Pariah Was One and getting other people listening to it. And
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys have a great rest of your day, and we will be in touch.
For sure, man.
Right. Thank you.